Hello everyone, I'm Sanj. Welcome to the Automation Kings. And in this video, I decided to build something that's quite simple, but it's going to be very helpful to you. Whether you run an agency or you sell this to, agency owners, it's a great automation. And what this does is that it will take events from a Google Calendar or any calendar. It will plug into an AI agent. The AI agent will extract some details from the meeting, and then it will basically use an AI service called Retail AI, and it'll basically call the prospect or the client and then remind them of the upcoming meeting, okay? The reason I like this is because it showcases your expertise in the AI automation field by using AI in a very, real life use case, okay? And I think there's no better way to showcase that than to actually contact a prospect, because if you are trying to sell them AI automation services, when they see that, it's going to be amazing, right? So strap yourselves in. This is a quick and easy automation. It's definitely one that you can kind of get your feet wet with if you've never used AI or NA10 automations. And let's just dive right in.
I just wanted to go through the requirements of a personal assistant agent like this. So the first step is you want to sign up to retail.ai. And basically Retail is the actual assistant. It's the AI platform that's going to go out there, call the number, and then we're going to prompt it to basically give it some guidelines as to what you want it to do. Okay, now it is a prompt, so you can put in there whatever you want. You can sell your services, you can do follow-up calls, reminders. It's entirely up to you. For this example, I'm just going to do an appointment reminder, just keep it clean and simple, but I'll show you how you can expand on that, okay? The second thing you want to do is you need to buy a phone number of Twilio. Now, Twilio is free. You can try it, right? I think they give you like $15. So it's enough to buy a few numbers and test it. With Retail AI, you are going to have to top up with about $10, which I think is what I did, because you're using their service, okay? So the phone number that you're buying is basically the phone number that it's going to call from. It's not going to call from your mobile number. It's going to call from a dedicated number, like an outbound call. You can also use it for inbound as well. And I'll show you how to do that, okay? Then the third step is you're going to need to set up trunk and geo if you buy it off Twilio. Now, I did initially buy a number of retail.ai, but I couldn't get it to work with the automation, right? Because I live in Singapore, and the number that I bought is a US number, okay? So there are some restrictions when you do international calling. It's just not going to work. And so what you need to do is you need to basically set up the geo settings inside of the Twilio setup, right? Now, for some reason, and I couldn't find this inside of Retail, I couldn't separate or connect where in Retail I can go and change these settings, right? Because it does use Twilio. If you buy it through Retail AI, it will use Twilio to buy the number, but there's no way inside of Retail to configure those settings with Twilio, okay? So what I did the second time was I just went into Twilio because it's free. I signed up for an account. I created a new number, I bought a new number or leased it. And then I set up the trunk and the geo for that, okay? Now, I'm not gonna go through that in this video because it's not really relevant, but if you just go through the setup that I'll show you, it's pretty straightforward, and they've got instructions on Retail to show you how to do that, okay? Then the last step is activate the workflow and close those leads, because this is a great automation for reminders. When you do start your own agency, when you have leads, when you have calendars booked up, right, that's great. That's the first part, right? The second part, and this is the most challenging part that I certainly found when I built my agency, is how do you get those people to show up to those calls, especially for me, because a lot of my clients, a lot of my prospects come from the US, right? So I'm on a different time zone. I think 12 hours ahead of East Coast, right? So New York is 12 hours behind me. And I believe the Pacific, the West Coast is about 15, 16 hours behind, right? So getting them on a call with me is the biggest challenge that I find. Now, there are tools, other tools, external tools inside of apps like Calendly that can do it for you. They can send an email, a text message to your prospects, but it's not enough, right? And I think that if you are running an agency, an AI automation agency, and you use a solution like this, you're gonna blow the socks off these people, right? Because I don't think anybody's doing this, right? I don't think anybody's showcasing their expertise when it comes to AI, but actually using AI as an assistant to remind them that they have an upcoming call with you, okay? So I think it puts you at least in the top 1%, if not lower. It might even be 0.01% for all I know, right? Because AI adoption, specifically for a task like this, is very low, okay? So the next thing I'm gonna show you is the actual automation. Then I'm gonna demo it on this call, on this video. Okay, so this automation is quite simple automation. There's not that many moving parts. The first trigger that you're going to need is a schedule trigger. That's the way I've set it up. But again, the input can be from wherever you want it to be, okay? So just grab the schedule trigger and set up the schedule to whatever you want it to be, okay? The next node is going to be a Google Calendar. So again, just find the Google Calendar node, which is this one here. That's what I'm using for my meetings, okay? I have calendar, so basically clients and prospects can actually go to my Calendly, book a time, a slot, and then basically my Calendly is connected up to a Google Calendar, and that's where it will show up, okay? So if you go inside of here, just connect up to a Google Calendar account, which is just an authorization window with your Gmail account. The resources event, the operation is get many, and then you just want to set up the calendar. You want to return all, right? I've just set it for a limit of 2 because I don't want to return everything on my calendar. Okay, and then basically the after is just a function called now, right? And then before is I've set it to a week. Okay, so you can set any time frame you want. You can have 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 days, whatever, right? This is just a function that you need, which is now dot plus, and then the way you see it, okay? So that's set up exactly how you see that. The next node you want is going to be the AI agent, which is this one here. It's a very popular node that I use for pretty much all my automations. Okay, so if you go inside of here, we're gonna need 3 things. Okay, so we need a description, the start time, and the end time. And I haven't run it because I've got some sensitive information. These are actually live meetings with clients, and they've also got phone numbers in there, so I don't want that to be shown up. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to run it, and then I'll show you what it looks like on a live demonstration on this video. Okay, so we need a description, which is just going to be description or summary. You'll see it in here. Now, if you are using anything other than Google Calendar, just find something that has the agenda, the description, the summary. Okay, that's going to be the dynamic variable here, the dynamic field. Okay, and every calendar has a start time and end time. There should be, so here you can see I've got an end time, I've got a start time here somewhere as well, here as you can see. So you just drag and drop that there, okay? To make sure you've toggled on requires specific output format because we're gonna need some JSON, okay? So if I go inside of here, this is the system message. So you're an assistant based on the input, generate structured JSON object with these required fields. Okay, so I'm telling it to create these variables, okay? The first one is name, which should come up from the call. Details, the meeting details. Second one is phone number, and this is the format I've wanted it in because that's the format that's compatible with retail, okay? Then the reason, which is the purpose, context, the gender, start time, end time, and the email address, okay? You definitely need a phone number and the name because that's what I'm using to prompt the virtual assistant. Only valid JSON, do not include explanations, comments, or any extra text, okay? Then because of that, if you come out, we're going to need an OpenAI model, so just connect that to the chat model. And for that, I'm using Fora Mini, which is completely fine. And then you want to add a structured output parser, okay, where it says output parser, okay. And then what I've set up in here is basically the context of extracting those details, okay. So basically, I've created variables, right? So I could actually just rename. They used to be like this, but I've just changed them. So let me just update this. So reason, start time, just so that it's consistent with what I'm assigning the variables. So that's it there. And so basically this is just to pass the variables I've created inside of the AI agent, okay? And if I just go back into this, you'll see that it's this section here, right? I'm creating these variables. The variables have been created. I need to pass them so I can use them downstream with the next module, which is going to be a HTTP request. So let me just go inside of there, HTTP request node, okay? And then if I go inside of this, you'll see that it's a post method. This is the API. It's create-phone-call. This is what we're going to call through the API. And then for the credentials, you just want to set up a generic credential type, custom auth, and then you want to give it a new credential, okay? So if I go inside of here, you want to use some JSON, okay? And I'll show you what that looks like because I can edit this one. So the JSON is headers, and then you want authorization, and then the bearer space, and then this is the API key. And I'll show you how to get that from retail. And then the content type is just application JSON, okay? This is what retail requires. This is what we have to send back to retail if we want to trigger it if you want to trigger their service using API, okay? Then for the send body, you just want to toggle on send body. The content type is going to be JSON. The specified body is going to be using JSON, and this is JSON code. Again, this is what's required by the API through retail, okay? So this is the number that I brought to Twilio. The to number is who am I calling? So that's going to be a dynamic variable that I'm pulling from the check events. So it's just a dynamic variable, which is the phone number, okay? And this is what's been created and separated from the AI agent module, okay? Then you've got name, you got phone number. Now these variables are what the retail requires, okay? So it's in their format. So you could use it. You could do this as name, phone number, phone underscore number, reason, start underscore time, end underscore time inside of the AI agent. You can have it as that. That's entirely up to you as well. Okay, but I've separated them out. As you can see that the variables I've created is phone, and then it's capital letter number, and that's just for me to understand that this is the variables that retail requires. These are the variables that I've created, okay? And then the override agent ID is just the agent ID that you're going to create inside of retail, and I'll show you how to do that. And that's basically it for this step, okay? So this is the workflow created. Now let's head over to retail and Twilio, and I'll show you exactly how to set that up. So once you're inside of retail AI, make sure you go to billing and add some credits here. I think I added something like $10, which is enough to get started. The first thing you want to do is head over to phone numbers, and then you want to add a phone number, okay? So you can buy a phone number through retail.ai, but I found it difficult to set up. So I did it connecting to a number via the SIP trunking, okay? So I did that to Twilio, and I'll show you exactly how to do that, because you can actually buy the number for free, or at least lease it for free through Twilio, okay? Then what you need to do inside of retail is you want to go over to agents, and then you want to create a new agent, okay? So once you click on create an agent, select single prompt agent, and then it'll bring you to this screen. Because I've already created mine, which is Nova, which is the one I'm going to play you at the end of this video, okay? So the prompt is, you are Nova, an AI voice assistant powered by Retail AI, representing the Automation Kings, which is my agency that helps businesses automate workflows using no-code tools and AI agents. Your job is to remind clients about their upcoming consultation appointments. You are confident, warm, and professional. So that just gives you the context, okay, or gives the assistant the context important. If a client asks about the Automation King services, pricings, or offerings, refer to them to the official Automation Kings knowledge base, okay? If you're unsure, offer to connect them with a human team member, okay? So that's basically handling different types of routes based on where the conversation flows, okay? Then basically we've got a couple of functions that we need to set up. The first one is transfer call. The second one is end call. I'll show you how to do that shortly. And then the style guardrails is what they call it inside of retail. It's basically just to give it some parameters, okay? So be direct, keep the answer short, clear, and specific. Now I've created an appointment reminder agent. So the goal, the end game of this agent is very simple, right? It's just to phone them, get the name, address them by the name, make sure that they know that there's an appointment at such time on a specific day, and also mention the agenda, okay? That's all I've trained this bot to do, okay? Sound natural, stay friendly, ask clearly, avoid repeating, okay? Do not read out raw timestamps like this. So this is what the output of the start and end times will be inside of a tool like Google Calendar, okay? So I don't want the agent to basically read this out, right? Like it doesn't mean anything to anybody. Always convert times in natural formats such as 2 p.m. on Friday, May 10th. That's much more human sounding, and it sounds a bit more competent and less robotic like, okay? So task breakdown, identify the recipient, right? The name should be there on the actual calendar scheduled event, right? And if it's not, then train and put a prompt in there for the agent to ask them, okay? Or hi there, may I ask who I'm speaking with, right? Very straightforward. And always lead with this, okay? Because it just sounds very professional. State the purpose, explain the reason for the call, just a quick reminder about your upcoming consultation with the Automation Kings. If the reason is missing, which it shouldn't be, again, because you are capturing this information on a tool like Calendly or Cow.com, then make sure you're putting this in there. I'm calling regarding a scheduled appointment you have with our team. Confirm the appointment time, which is always going to be on every calendar, the start time and the end time, but remember it's formatted. Okay. And most of the slots that clients can book or prospects can book, prospects usually book about 15 minutes because I don't want to waste too much time on there because they are cold. Clients can usually book like 30-minute slots with me, okay? Then you have an consultation coming up soon. I recommend checking your calendar or the confirmation we sent you, right? So Calendly will always send them a reminder, okay? Then handle questions or redirects if you're asking about something outside the scope. I'm not able to assist that, but then we'll trigger the transfer call. Again, I'll show you how to set that up and who you can send it to. So that's going to be a human in the loop. It could be yourself, it could be any of the team members. It's entirely up to you, okay? If the caller seems confused, I completely understand. I'll note this down and have somebody on our team follow up. Again, very similar to the redirects and questions. And then end the call, close warmly. Thanks for your time. We're looking forward to speaking with you. If the name wasn't confirmed, thank you again. Have a great day. Then end, then run, trigger, end call, okay? The last thing you want to do is make sure that the welcome message is set to AI initiates. AI begins with a dynamic begin message, right? So I always want my agent to initiate a call, okay? So a few things we need on this side where it says simulation. So if you go down to functions, you want to add end call and transfer call, okay? So this you can set to any number, right? So if you just click on add, you'll have end call, transfer call, just set it up in there. Mine's actually set to my own personal number, which is why I'm not going to open this up. But yeah, just know that you just click on add and then you can set up end call, transfer call, okay? The next thing is knowledge base. So this is super cool, right? So you can actually add a knowledge base. So let me show you what that looks like. You can actually add a knowledge base here. So you can add documents, text files. So like you can add like PDFs. So if you've got, like, for example, let's say like a prices list, right? You can add that to a PDF, you can add text, or you can get it to crawl and synchronize the prices on your website, right? Which I think is a really cool way of doing this, because if they do ask for something outside of scope, which I do get a lot, right? Like on my calls, like how much is XYZ, then you can actually build that into the conversation and using the knowledge base, which I think is a really good idea. Okay, and then in terms of the call itself, I only speak with native English speakers, so my language is always going to be English. But if you want to change the actual the voice, then you've got all these options here, okay? So I've used the default, I think it's Simo here, but you can test all these out. Some of these are pretty cool. To give you some free ones here, you can test. You can also add your own custom voice through, I think it's 11 Labs, right? Which it is, I think so. You can add a custom voice over 11 Labs. You can integrate it here as well, okay? And for the language model, I've left it at 4.0 mini because it's really affordable, right? It's only 0.006 per minute. You can get better calls with something like 4.0 real time, but look at the cost. It's like 50 cents a minute, which is going to add up and torch your tokens pretty quickly, right? So just, again, it's always going to be a balance of quality and cost, right? So trade off what you think is good. I mean, this might be even better, right? Like the 4.0, which is only 0.05 cents per minute, okay? So it's not even like 1 cent. It's like 5 cents, right? So just bear that in mind. So I use 4.0 mini, which was completely fine for this, but you might want to test some of the other ones as well. You've got Claude here, Gemini. Claude Sonnet might be a good option. Gemini Flash, I've used that for other tasks, not for voice, but yeah, definitely worth testing out, okay? And you can test the audio here if you want to do that, but make sure you publish it, okay? Once you're done, publish it, and then when you head over to phone numbers, you can then assign it, right? So I've got the Twilio one here. You can then assign it to that agent, which is Nova, appointment reminder agent, and then the version is the current version, okay? Then the last thing you want to do is head over to Twilio if you're going to buy the phone number inside of Twilio. Let's just go over to the account dashboard. Okay, and where did I buy the phone numbers? Let's see, active phone numbers. You can buy a number here. So I've got my active one here, which I've given it a SIP trunk of retail.ai. You can just buy a number from buy a number here, and you have a trial, right? So you've got like a $15 trial, so it's not actually going to cost you anything. So definitely worth testing it out. Test out different numbers as well. So I've tested out United States, but again, you've got a list of numbers here, and they have different capabilities. Okay, so I just went with voice because that's what I'm going to use it for. So I unticked all these other ones, but you can lease any of these numbers, right? And the first thing I want to do is just type in trunk here. Okay. So where it says Elastic SIP trunks, you want to set that up inside of the configuration in here. Okay, so you're going to need a SIP URI, which is this one here for me. and you're gonna need a like some configurations inside of here. The thing you want to do is just set up a new step trunk and just head over to the documentation inside of retail. So if I can find it, let's just see what that is. And then it's inside of trunk, elastic trunk, and just follow the steps, which is what I did. It was pretty straightforward, which is here. And then you just want to select the Twilio one, right? So I think it's on the left hand side here. Let me see if I can find it. But just know that you want to set it up for Twilio, okay? They have it in here. I don't know exactly where it was, but I just followed it inside of the knowledge base. That's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do is if you want to set up calls with external international, then you want to set up the voice geographic permissions. Okay, if you click on side of the here, because I live in Singapore, I wanted to call myself in Singapore, and you can just basically select any of these countries. Some of these high risk countries, right? Your country might be on a high risk country. That's fine. You can select it and you can check it, and then you can add it. Okay, because for some reason Singapore was on a high risk category, so I had to move over to low risk. Okay. So yeah, let's now run the automation and I'll show you what it sounds like, okay? Okay, let's run the automation and see if the call comes through, okay? So let's test the workflow. Should grab the events and all the details from the events. And it's just running through the AI agent. And now it's gonna call me. Just waiting for the call to come through. You can see it here. And I'm just gonna play this next to the speaker.
Hi there, may I ask who I'm speaking with?
Hi, it's Sanj.
Hi Sanjay. Just a quick reminder about your upcoming consultation with the Automation Kings. It's scheduled for 2 p.m. on Friday, May 10th and should take around 30 minutes.
That's great, thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time, Sanjay. We're looking forward to speaking with you.
Have a good one, bye.
Thank you again, Sanjay. Have a great day.
Not bad at all, right? Now, obviously, the call can be as detailed or as expansive as you want it to be. And if you go inside of retail, which is this one here, find the agent. You can always expand on the prompt, right? So I just kept it quite simple. I mean, there's a lot of text here, but there's not actually that much going on in terms of the conversation, right? If you want to have a very expansive conversation, just remember that you need to make the prompt as expansive and as contextualized, if I can say it, as possible, right? Give it guardrails. Don't assume that the AI agent knows what what you're thinking. Just put it down in the prompt, okay? And finally, before I wrap up this call, I just wanted to say that I'm just using an appointment reminder, right? But the use cases for this are literally infinite. Think of all the tasks you can use, you can replace, with just an AI virtual assistant, like an AI assistant like this, that calls out and does the job for you. Okay, so this is just the beginning. It's going to be a lot better. We're still at the infancy of this kind of use case for AI, but it's going to get better as the language models get better, as the technologies get better, and I'm super excited to be in this space. So hopefully you found this video very useful. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you on the next video. But before I sign off, please consider signing up and subscribing to the channel, and take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Thank you.